such a stage, because every elector ought to use his discretion. But as an elder in this country, I cannot sit down and watch while we citizens are being led astray. These commissions have been purposefully timed to deceive us, to bias us, to diminify our conscience. And
Ifwa Ghana TV, simply the best.
Yes, Orofo. And all my question, Yamiatom, Bibi, a course come on. May no was Saudi a China no may na course kama. Nafi young cancer saying Yamu shall. She say a few back aquatuaba. She say a few back aquatuaba. And a hunya pa tuaba. Now you're Ghanaian. One hour while I just abandonment and sister Munyanze Uno Munya Jai and Fatao Jai Upianco non concotoaba. Abuzia Mayenda Seekers Eba Clinic as Seekers Ewa Socorman Pon or na or Dindupa in Runibi Ayabubi. Berman Swedom or Meme Drobi or Honso, I wonder my Janaso Kamapa. I think so. More immune booster, a drobo, ultimate the frecuku, ultimate a differential, and no, the baby a camapa, a immune booster, a yedru, a mau, one woman, a fight tia yarwano, a man of wedding. It will be so a pebble, and no maina, a coso kama, edema, Fred, seekers a war, a socorman for municipal assembly nature, uko no business, seekers, almost signboard crazy, municipal assembly, who I would drew up or metro. Na wafa signboard so kopia o mahwe omo clinic mu a ombeboa apayaresa e dia mo kama massage na opa obenya bibia obenya good me mfa ye na Davis delicious sheton so ye na nase so ono so e de sheto soronko e de abeso ye nase ne me se sheto no ye wom isi a ye breaking kwala so omo mra meto aba ane ometo no mato aba panso na mom mamen kanfo Davis delicious sheto omo bekoi e dia ne ho aye din wo school ti peshito ni bi faka omo ho na omo kwa se gari no mbenya se sia koko yaka omo ni sugar nti wa yaka koko na odi koko sugar ba so tokoro na aban betimi anu amo a na oso do na maba owo shito a sa hawi na onya adokoro na oti shito kakra na okomesi opa agedie nam wo ni bi na fama uma ya chi na mpinam kware to ampa e na hihiem kwaje na fama mo so nya bi sifia ye beto aba weekend ye wa Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, 4 solid days. Wapa unye bia. When ya hana untimi nye ya. Ya to aba uwi udi nkunimo. Unye bi. Na udi ya papa. Ubetimi dia asete ohuna no meina. Friday bi. Omashita wa maya Ghana ha bebre. Omo kekos, omo kumase. Omo bebieni. Omo esehube kwai. Omo wo memre bebi. From metro baby omo branch ni biwo wakwa je wo shito menna afi menna wena hausa koko nso ase omo so di koko soronko anope yampe chena kwa akoto abe unya anopa na bole nso hye ne wa hono we hwie gu wayi koko hausa koko ewie ko senso umbo madia utof flamaya fla udi nsuomi no hono udi anwesi jaso atete di atum within 5 minutes 10 minutes what you could say why you house koko right one wa mo kunubi wa mo mbabi usuwe dibi manya ahoden mako na makoto aba apempuntuo papa de ama omai konkro Ghana apennuma de ama omai konkro Ghana apenno ma papa e de ama omai ma omai afa ne ntoma pa e di efra abuzia the first special prosecutor or woman or the message be abetuja. Yes, or the message be aba betuga before on mine say chana bekwa akoto aba no me na yanko yankuti Martin Amidu nensama or the atuga.
Good afternoon, fellow citizens of Ghana. My name is Martin Amidu. I normally do not speak to the public. I prefer to write. But 2024 election year marks a critical period in Ghana's constitutional history. We've had 6 presidents since 7th of January 1993. Our 6th president is about ending his term or tenure of office. The Constitution demands that on 7th December 2024, we as citizens of Ghana go to the polls and exercise our sovereign franchise to determine who shall rule us for the next 4 years, starting 7th January 2025. Throughout our constitutional history, we've changed the number of governments formally almost every 8 years. This is the 8th year of the Nana Akufo-Addo Bawumia presidency. They came to power at the 216th election, promising us as messiahs and redeemers heaven here on earth in our country. Within the 8 years, every Ghanaian of adult age has witnessed that the promises have not been materialized. What we have seen is rather a government of family, friends, and cronies, creating, looting, and sharing our collective national patrimony for the few of them. Our economy has been brought to such a mess that almost each and every one of us who has savings or who even spends money has had a haircut. These angels of ours will not even use clean blades to shave us. They just broke bottles and used the rough edges to give us a shave. Pensioners, disabled people have lost their savings. Prices of goods and services have gone high. Amidst all this suffering, we have been told that there's been development. These developments over the years were kept aside until just 2 or 3 months ago. We can see the president and his poodle, his vice president, running around everywhere and commissioning completed, uncompleted, and work in progress as achievements for the government. Meanwhile, the pockets of the ordinary man in the street are empty. We cannot get 3 square meals a day. While we are suffering, the president gallivants in chartered planes abroad. His vice president exhibits incompetence in terms of our human security. And yet, we have been told that during the polls, the most credible person to vote for to continue the mismanagement of the country is the president's vice president, whom he has groomed and cloned to be his poodle. Normally, I should not want to make an intervention at such a stage because every elector ought to use his discretion. But as an elder in this country, I cannot sit down and watch while we citizens are being led astray. These commissions have been purposefully timed to deceive us, to buy us, to diminify our conscience, and as if we have no memory of the past. That is why I wish to appeal to Ghanaians to look back at their conditions of life and decide whether they want to continue the same system of deception, the same system in which families, friends, and cronies will siphon the national patrimony, the same system in which, because of their stomachs, our riverbeds and river bodies will be polluted because of galamsey to enrich themselves and their party minions? Or we need what the Constitution demands from them, that every government must adhere to probity and accountability. Within the 8 years, we have not as citizens had the chance to hold this government to account. The only opportunity for us to hold the government to account is to refuse to renew the 8-year term by voting for the portal of the president, who will then cover up for another 4 years, making it 12 years. That's making it impossible, if there ever was a change of government, for us to be able to trace the looted properties from our national resources. Our purse is literally empty. I don't need to tell you that. Your conditions of existence shows you that. That is why I think it is insulting to us as voters for the government to wait only when it wants our votes. Then it will go around the country commissioning projects, using our resources to take pressmen along, take TV along, as if we don't have common sense. Please, let's demonstrate that we have common sense. The president has only one person whose audit he fears, and it has come from his mouth. He says we should vote for Dr. Amidu Baumia, who has been his right-hand man throughout the mess he has inflicted in this country, so that he will not be audited. Because if we vote for one of the presidential candidates who was a former president of this country, by virtue of his experience and acumen, he might be able to do a perfect audit, and that will disclose several improprieties. I investigated the Ejapa royalties transactions. It is full of a lot of filth. The special prosecutor promised on oath to Parliament that he will investigate it. He has failed to do it. We need a government that will be able to audit that, investigate it, and let us see whether the great looters share indeed happened or did not happen. I am grown enough, and I have lived through the politics of this country, not to know that even the candidate of the NDC is not a saint. But we need a government in which the president will have parliamentarians who will be able to help him to rule the country, and therefore be able to conduct an audit of a government which has deceived us for 8 years. That is why, for me, even though I have issues with the NDC presidential candidate, he has been out for 4 years. He has learned his lessons, as far as I can reckon with. He is being feared by the incumbent president because of his ability to find out all the loot and where they are hidden. In such circumstances, pragmatism requires that as electors, we give the chance to the NDC presidential candidate, who can then come and conduct the audit. The MPP presidential candidate, Dr. Baumia, says that we should give him 4 years so that he will have an 8-year term of office, which means he wants another 8 years to add to the 8 years they are exhausting, so that for 16 years, this country will be looted to the ground and to the bone, and nobody can make an audit. The 1992 Constitution forbids such looting. If we do not change a government now, we are putting the Constitution in danger, because when people cannot change a government at the polls because they suspect that an incumbent president is going to rig the system, then they will resort to self-help. God forbid. I am a constitutionalist, and I believe that this constitution has endured several governments. We can make it endure several more governments by looking at our situation, making sure we could audit the incumbent government, so that if they have a chance to come again, whether it's 4 years' time, because Mr. John Dramani Mahama has only 4 years. And so he has this time to show that after all, he is somebody who can lead this country and find out where hidden property is being hidden. So let's give him a chance. I do not think that Bawumia has the competence. His track record of going to Walawale to say that if your mother is in the funeral place, you eat every day, is a repetition of his mentor, Nana Akufo-Addo's principle, that when a chief ascends a stool and gets riches and doesn't spend it, he will be called or classified as a fool. This, he said, when he was Minister for Foreign Affairs to a friend. I have the documentation, a document to that effect, which was sent to me when I was special prosecutor, even though I've kept it away outside the country. This is a philosophy of create, loot, and share. I think it is the time for us to have a sober reflection and decide whether we want to audit this government after 8 years service, or we want to entrust our future to them to mismanage again. As I said, the vote is yours. My duty as somebody who has been in public service for several decades in this country is to lay the facts bare before you so that you may make an informed choice on 7th of December 2024. I urge you to defend the Constitution by preserving it and ensuring that we can audit the existing government. I thank you very much. I wish you a good vote. Vote wisely. Take your situation into consideration and vote where your interests, your future, your prosperity lies. I think it will lie.
Me ni hwe ka wone nsam no ho. Wankasa wa so tie yo ka no. Wone ne adwena to abako dia wo pe. Vote wisely. Ko enkoto enkokuntokwa. Koto aba. Kira wadwen wo man mu. Dia oman no ekono. Ya wadwen ye wususu se aban yon to aso a fair enough. So susu se yen sakrem na yenye nipa foforo so mfa adwen foforo ma. Fe me ma adwen de mama wa hu se yen sisem ni nipa foforo so ma meje na omfa adwen foforo emfa medanda ma no. E kina se MPP omkwada ndom hu yie na sagana fo omode ahobra susu nya dwai omugba yi o ahobra susu foforo ediba na se nyame bese hu omobwa wasan mo anada akwanya mama abesom oman omo ayo mafam de nanso yese ukọ oba na wankọ a uji wani so ane seni ankofo ndi sibu ye yansisem no mankọ ansamma yete ha yebadwenso anom unim so oman a oyesi omaban a oyesi serious pa yebeto aba jese china memory de ya uya awese ya to pro ya tum 5%. Okay? EC light any lighter just and na mkoto light. When ya awese ya to kaniem meto a light 70 Ghana cedi. Menkwa na use me meter. Meto 70 cedis. Abusuya. Oya nem light ya de mam 24 Ghana cedi. Aban teme 46 cedis. 46 Ghana cedis. Many about to yatimi 46 cedis. Wani bay. Mo say we nyina eye yenye free HS ti yento aso. Mate me ne hweka ebusua. Mate Amidu na akere na adwene no. Dia wo so adwene ye koto. Na ye hwe dia ya mebeye. Na me de midim say ya mebe kasa. Na sene omkofo yesi aka nipa no atum. Untimi kire wadwene. Enso time omo take opposition na manfo ka omo adwene. Kire aban ya oteso. Kire wadwene. Nanso na wo kire wadwene a the wo mbese di watem. Kwa bi omdo be fa so no. Yense san wo wate na muwa na mfa mpuntu omro ma kokro Ghana. Yamisha Macrao. Bye bye.
If one can see, simply